Hi everyone, thanks for coming to this session to talk about your experiences of having a parent in prison. Maybe you can start by telling us how things were before this happened.
When I was 11, I was living a happy life. Things weren't perfect, but I enjoyed my life.
My dad didn't live with us, but I saw him every weekend. And we do stuff together like going to the park and watch films.
I went to the park and the shops with my dad, and he would take me everywhere on holidays. We were such a happy family.
We used to have loads of fun. We'd go to the parks nearly every day and have trips at the cinema at the weekend. Me and Dad would make rainbow cakes every Thursday and then watch a film. I was happy.
But then one day I got home, and there was police there, and Dad was getting arrested. 3 policemen took him away, and I never even got to say goodbye. I remember one of my neighbours in the street asked if we were okay.
I was at my cousin's and my mum told us what happened. It was horrible and I couldn't think properly. I was shocked.
My dad told me face to face that he was going to prison both times it happened. I was really upset and I wondered why he was going to prison and how long he would be gone for.
I only knew what my mum told us and I had loads of questions. I thought he'd come home, but he didn't.
I feel quite down about everything most of the time. I think about all the time he's been in there and it upsets me that I'm not having that time with him.
What changed for you and your family?
A lot changed after my dad went into prison. We didn't go to the parks every day and weren't going out as much. I missed all the things we used to do.
Lots changed for me when my dad went to prison. I miss the things that we used to do together and I only got to visit him once every 2 weeks.
Everything totally changed. My mum, my sister, and my gran always cry a lot, and we pray a lot more than we used to.
The most difficult things was seeing how sad people got. My dad's mum cries every time we talk about it.
One of the hardest things was seeing how sad my mum was. She cried a lot. We all did.
Some of the family have even split up with us because of what has happened, so I don't get to see them anymore.
I was also worried that people would be mean and bully me about it.
And sometimes people would say, "Where's your dad?" And it would make me unhappy and I'd have to walk away.
Another worry that I have is what my friends will think, and that they'll spread secrets about us. My dad isn't a bad person, but I'm worried people will think we're both bad people.
I only really told a few close friends and teachers, but a few people did say, "You don't have a dad," and this made me feel pretty sad.
I still get upset and I think about it most days. I know there's no need to worry because he'll be out soon.
One of the hardest things has been worrying about my mum. I always worry when she's stressed, because when she's too stressed, she can sometimes have fits, and I'm scared I won't know what to do. So I try really hard not to stress her out.
Sometimes I feel pretty depressed about it, but at least I've got my family to talk to. That helps me cope.
Sometimes I get angry and annoyed with my family. I don't mean to. I don't always know why I'm angry.
If you've been able to visit your parent at the prison, what was it like?
The first time I visited, I had to wait for 45 minutes in a waiting room before I could see him. I never went into another room to meet him.
It looked like a massive church, and inside it was quite big, and it felt like the guards were staring at us.
I was really excited to see him. I thought it would be a small private room, but when I got inside, it was massive and full of people. It was really good to see him, and we were allowed to hug.
I was excited to see my dad, but also a bit scared. I felt much better when I actually saw him, and I was able to speak to him.
It all felt a bit much, and I got a bit emotional, but I still loved seeing him. The hardest part was leaving him. He told me he really wanted me to go back.
The worst part was having to leave my dad at the end, and not being able to give him a kiss or a hug.
The last time my dad got out of prison, I talked to him about how him going in and out of prison made me feel. I told him I was really upset with him committing a crime and ending up in prison. I also told him how much I missed him. My dad told us he wouldn't commit any more crimes and he wouldn't be going back to prison. And I'm still worried he might end back up in there.
Where have you been able to find support?
At school, we sometimes have a class called Aspire, where we talk about deep things and then about life situations. But I'm scared to tell the teacher why I get upset. I've only told 2 teachers and some of my friends. I only tell the teachers I know I can trust.
I'm supposed to get a counsellor in school to help, but they didn't turn up, so I went to Nepacs.
The teachers from school could have got me help from the school counsellor. They were supposed to, but they didn't. Social services were around at the start. They said they would help, but then they bailed on me. Then I found out about Nepacs and went to speak to them. Jess really helps me, and if I need to talk, I can have a one-to-one meeting with her.
When I first went to Nepacs, it felt a bit weird to have someone to talk to, and it was hard at first. I used to go to the group sessions, and I'm in Jess, and now I can talk to them, and it feels good.
Nepacs has been really important to me because if I'm having a bad day, it gives me something to look forward to.
I like going to Nepacs. I speak to Ammon. He's good to talk to about how I feel. I remember one thing we did was my journey travel. It helped me to talk about important people in my life and the support they give me. It also helped me to talk about my worries.
We play games that help us talk about how we feel, like the Bring Me game, where I have to get an object and then we talk about it and it helps me get my feelings out.
We do an activity called the Three Houses, and we could put the thoughts in the worry house, the dream house, or the house of good things. I was worried if my dad would be safe. It helped me to talk about it and it calmed my worries.
One thing I would do when I was worried was to write down worries on bits of paper. And then I'd rip up the bits of paper and it felt like the worries were gone.
At night, my mum helps me with my worries. I tell her them, then she gets rid of them. But she says she'll keep some for me to deal with when I'm ready.
What could have helped you more?
I think it would have really helped if there'd been some more things to tell me about what to expect.
Maybe other young people that this has happened to could talk to you about how they coped.
Maybe a film that can tell you what happened and explain things like visits and what you can do if you need help. And it could show you what a prison looked like.
I think if the school had a special person for us to talk to, it would help. I wish there were more people to open up to who would tell us that it's going to be okay, so you know that people aren't going to judge you.
What have you learnt through this experience?
One thing I've learned through all of this is how much I need my dad and how much I appreciate him.
I've also learned that you can't always trust everyone, but I can choose who's in my life.
Even though the whole thing has been difficult, I think it's turned out all right. Not the best, but all right. I feel quite proud of how I've got through this.
I'm feeling much more resilient than I used to be. I used to think I was soft, but now I know that you don't have to be physically strong to be mentally strong.
What would you say to other young people who are going through the same thing?
If I met another young person in the same situation, I'd tell them don't worry, as time will pass and it won't be as long as you think.
I tell them to try and stay strong, focus on the positives, and try to talk to someone, and don't be scared to ask questions.
I would tell them, I know it's hard at first, but they're in there for a reason, and eventually you'll be able to move on from it.
And if they were feeling angry, I'd tell them to go outside and play with their friends.
Try to think positively and try to talk to other people about your problems. It will help a lot.